evening, race fans, and welcome to Podium Esports coverage of the 8th race of Monday Night Racing Road to Glory series presented by Toughco Flooring. Tonight, it's the Big Green Egg Challenge, live from iRacing's virtual Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. My name is Justin Prince. Alongside the booth for tonight's action is Joe Peak with our producer, Joshua Lee. Cameras are provided by the great Dougie Beard as we get ready to go racing near the Windy City. Chicagoland is a legendary track and a track known for entertaining action. But now it's the matter of seeing which drivers can come out on top tonight with so much pressure on the line, Joe.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a tricky track for that tonight because on the surface it looks like your pretty typical 1.5 miler, but it's got little subtleties, and some of the corner exits can cause a lot of looseness on the cars, so expect a few drivers to maybe lose it on their own.
This has been a track that has challenged many in the past, but it's also a driver's track here in Joliet, Illinois, as we take a look at your Google Earth for tonight's action. This racetrack hosted NASCAR competition most recently in 2019. This mile-and-a-half, 2.4-kilometer track features 18 degrees of banking, along with 11 at the start and finish line. The back straightaway, 5 degrees of banking at a track where you're constantly turning as the back straightaway doesn't get fully straight around this racetrack. And in turn, Chicagoland is not the easiest place to conquer, especially with the potential of multiple groups coming into play, Joe.
Yeah, and honestly, I anticipate a lot of drivers try to use that to their advantage, not just for speed, but for tire management as well. Try not to crank that wheel in too much and riding a little bit high to allow it to hold on a little bit more as the run goes on. Remember, I said the cars can like to get loose pretty often, so you want to do all that you can to keep them underneath you.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the points as drivers have been notified and understand the urgency of tonight because the regular season, it ends tonight. With the All-Star race next week, the pressure is on for some. Presley Sora and Nick Olson come into tonight tied in the points with playoff points and victories. Luke up, Barely Turner, along with William Hale, have also secured victories. But look at the cut line, Joe. It is tied for 10th. Jesse Vaughn, Josh Abbey tied with 230 points apiece, with Zach Mertez along with Chris Tate close behind.
With stuff like that, the drivers absolutely have to put that out of their mind for the most part. Yes, you need to be aware of the point situation in case you need to do anything special, but what it all comes down to is you just need a good finish, and as long as, in the case of a tie, you finish ahead of your rival, you know you're good.
And keep in mind, say you're amongst those top 20 drivers, an upset winner can really shuffle how that bubble looks coming into tonight. There's been plenty of action, keep in mind, for a lot of these drivers where they've raced everything from the Xfinity cars now for their second time, to the Cup cars, to the super late models, to Miatas, to trucks on dirt, to next gen, to the 1987's last time out where Hale picked up the victory. These drivers have been challenged a lot, but as you see in the playoffs, whoever makes it to the round of 10 will have a lot to battle against with several different combinations they haven't seen yet on the docket.
Absolutely, and it's a pretty wide breadth, and this sort of series versatility pays off, especially considering right away you look at that, they go from Talladega to the Red Bull Ring. You couldn't get much different from those two.
That's going to be a very wild card round as we take a look at your race details for tonight. Drivers will have 60 laps on the board tonight, a maximum of about 50 minutes on the clock as well. One faster pair is available if necessary. 3 green light checker attempts are also available. There are also 3 sets of tires available in the pit lane for tonight, and there is a 75% fuel limit here at Chicagoland Speedway for this race, meaning fuel mileage could be a talking point if there is a long green flag run for this one.
And they've just finished up their qualifying too. And those green flag runs, watch out for the drivers who've got a setup that works well over that long run, because they're going to be the ones that are really able to take advantage of that the most.
These drivers are now wrapping up their qualifying for what's expected to be an exciting race tonight. That means it's time for the BST Shock starting grid here from Chicagoland. Service back with 20 years of experience. Let's take a look at how they'll start tonight as the Beef Jerky Unlimited pole award goes the direction of Presley Sora by 3/1000ths of a second over Reed Wilson. Row 2 tonight features DJ Powell starting alongside Bailey Turner. Joshua Abbey starts in row 3 tonight. He'll start alongside the short track driver Brendan Queen. Then in row 4, Jeffrey McConey. A 31 flatting qualifying, he'll start alongside the defending race winner from Michigan in the 1987 cars, William Hale. And rounding out your top 10 tonight, Joe, Thomas Miller, Justin Mons amongst the 31-second bracket.
Then it's Jesse Vaughn, who's going to be starting in 11th. He's going to be flanked by John Theodore. You've got Zachary Mertes in 13th, followed by Charlie Brown in P14. It's Ray Richer who will be kicking things off in the 15th spot to his outside. Craig Arvanetz is going to be starting 16th. You've got Jason Keffer in P17 and Mark Rebelos in 18th. The last row of the top 20 is going to be Trey Patton and Luke Knupp.
Luke Knupp, indeed. Keep an eye on him after that rough qualifying. Dylan Freeble starts 21st, with Connor Mann, the last of the drivers to take time. 2 did not qualify for tonight. That's Nick Olson and Christopher Tate. 24 drivers are set to go for tonight's action here from iRacing's virtual Chicagoland Speedway. As we're racing on iRacing Day, May 15th, 2021, under the lights for this evening's action, already approaching 8 p.m. in sim time. 74 degrees Fahrenheit is the air temp with partly cloudy skies. 77 degrees the track temperature. 57% is the humidity for this evening's action. Your keys to victory tonight, Joe, as we get ready to go racing for 60 laps and/or 50 minutes.
Patience, to me, is going to be key here today. Let the race come to you. If you've got the pace underneath you, try not to make too many risky moves. Try to make sure and take care of those tires. And then when it comes down to those last 20 laps, it's go time.
So the driver's just about all set to go. Presley Sora, he's been having a stellar season. He won both in the trucks at Knoxville and the next-gen cars at Phoenix. How will he fare tonight in the Xfinity cars here in Illinois? We're about to find out. It's time for the big green egg, green flag. We're underway from Chicagoland. Want a bit of trouble down the back straightaway just there. Jeffrey McConey hit a bit of the apron, caused significant damage to Thomas Miller's left front fender and front bumper. McConey sliding all over the racetrack on the cold tires. Significant damage for those two as Sora tries to hold on to the lead after the first lap.
Yeah, already you got a little bit of aggressiveness from Powell there on the bottom side. But again, the more you run that bottom line, the more you're going to be cranking the wheel into it. And the tires don't necessarily like it here early. You can already see we had McConey with an issue. I just saw Joshua Abbey have to slide back as he had to catch that number 5.
A lot of slipping and sliding indeed as Powell tries to work the middle line. Short track action driver holding on for now as we take a look now over towards Justin Mons, who has a special paint scheme tonight on that number 41 machine. His son is celebrating his birthday today. Jacob is celebrating his 7th birthday specifically, so he's running a special birthday-themed race car here for the number 41.
I love that special paint. That's fantastic there from him. He just took 7th away from Abbey as well, so he's doing pretty good to represent that special scheme. Let's see if the 41 can make any more inroads. He's got Hale in front of him currently.
William Hale currently about 5 car lengths up the road, and some of the drivers, keep in mind, Joe, already starting to utilize a bit of the apron, and that's a bit of a discussion point where some feel that's necessary to take the short way around, but others feel that can add tire heat to the front end of the race car by essentially having a 5th turn down the front.
I guess I'm an old school guy that prefers not to cut across the apron right there. So I'm one of the ones that would vote to say stay up on the banking. But I have heard many say that they feel like it's shorter, it's less distance, it's going to be quicker. But to me, from what I've seen calling races, it's a bit of a toss-up. Basically, I'd say play it as you feel most comfortable.
See right now, meanwhile, Nick Olson, who did not put in a qualifying time, is already on the move. He's gained 7 spots, your biggest mover so far in the first 4.5 laps. And right now, that iRacer GG back machine with the Klugerman Sport logos trying to run essentially around the bottom of the racetrack, just underneath that first seam by Apex.
Coming down the front straightaway, you can see how they're kind of splitting apart. Some of them are taking that bottom, some of them aren't. The other problem with going along that apron portion as well is we come back to the leaders, and Sora still in a battle with Powell, who's on the underside in that 86. Still don't quite have it settled out, but I was going to say that apron, it jostles the car a little bit. Now, I haven't seen anybody lose control, but again, that's part of the reason I don't like to usually use that, is because that's just an extra risk you really don't need.
That time, neither of them making a move towards the apron. Rick Wilson continues to watch as Sora tries to get the middle to work. Powell electing to wrap the bottom. And keep in mind, some drivers have discussed, depending on the line, it may be better for some to save along the bottom, some towards the top. Powell trying to side draft entering the corner into turn 3. It's not being easy for Sora, but now for Powell, he gets clear. Sora tries to cross him up and can't. Near contact for the lead.
They're fighting awful heavy for these first laps of the race, and Reed Wilson is honestly the one in the catbird seat right now as they spread apart. The 86 really right in the high line, and he's going to brush the wall.
DJ Powell looks like he tried to run the wall line, but the problem is if you take the angle wrong on entry, you can get into the fence. That's what he's done. Reed Wilson's taken advantage of the calamity to take the lead for himself now.
I was just saying that 66 was in the best position here. Those two were fighting so hard, and just like that, he pops himself now up into the fight for the lead. Sora's not going to give up on this one easily, it looks like. That 98 still running that middle line. It seems like no matter where his competitors are, he really likes to just plop it right down the center.
He has a lot of iRacing experience, keep in mind. There's a reason he's been one of the quick young guns when it comes to the service over the past couple of years. Trying to arc it down in front of Wilson's nose, meanwhile near contact, as Reed Wilson tries to get underneath with the 66. The Charlotte Phoenix machine can't get underneath. Here comes Bailey Turner to join the fray.
I'm a bit surprised it's been this tough to try and get by Sora. He's really trying to cover off this track position. He seems to think that's going to be key today. And at the bottom, Turner, I thought was going to drift up a little bit into the 30. You got to watch out. It's not just the looseness. If the car starts to understeer and there's somebody to your outside, that's going to be bad news for everybody.
All of this is while Queen has just arrived along that IC Butterbean, the 2020 Hampton Heat 200 winner, trying to utilize the high line as well, and it seems to be rolling for him. He's been getting into a lot of sim racing over the past couple months, especially on the short track side.
A little bit of fanning out here amongst this battle for second place, and looks like Bailey Turner's not quite working out like he would like on that bottom line. Dropped back a little bit. He's sitting in it hard, but it's, as they say, it's fast in, slow out oftentimes. So sometimes you gotta just switch that up. Try to diamond off the corner to get yourself better exits. As we check in with John Theodore here.
Take a look at that lighting in behind. His room seems to be very electrifying right now in terms of the color scheme. He's currently slowly crawling on up. Keep in mind, he is actually up to 9th position currently on the racetrack, counter to the 11th. He started in 12th position, though. He's been on the move.
Oh, behind him, there's a wreck unfolding almost. The 03 had some contact, and that was with Vaughn, I think, of the 28.
Right now, Jeff McConey is not making too many friends as Tate drives to the inside throughout all this. Keep in mind, McConey had that very loose moment down the backstretch on the opening lap of the race. He's now trying to take it 3 wide up the middle. Bit squirrely as Tate forced down to the bottom side. This is pretty dangerous with that damage McConey's dealing with. Not a lot of arrow towards that back end with the damage as you see his VR look.
Yeah, McConey's feeling pretty aggressive at this stage. We're only on lap 13. Granted, we haven't had a caution yet. They're going to fan out to try to get themselves some space, but they've been...
Bravo, front straightaway. One car coming up to the grass, and he wrecks in front of them. It's Reed Wilson. Wilson was in the lead battle moments ago. He hit the wall coming out of turn 4, spun into the grass, and brings out the first caution of the night.
Remember what I said earlier about the drivers needing to stay patient. That's 2 drivers who have fought hard up at the top spots who've now hit the wall. The 66, the second one. His, though, was kind of the reverse of what we saw with Powell, who went into the corner and hit it. He came out of the corner and just smashed that barrier, and then, well, you can see when he returned to the track, everything went worse.
The best virtual equivalent I can think of that is a few years ago, Casey Tucker had a similar situation where he had a moment coming off a turn 4 at Charlotte in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, slid off to the grass, and then collected 3 cars at the end of the quad oval. This, you see, makes contact with Queen and then tries to keep it straightened up, get back onto the racetrack. The problem is, the rest of the field is not expecting to come right back here.
Oh, poor Tate got the worst of it. And, wow, 2 hits as well. He's kind of lucky nobody came behind and plowed into him on top of it. But he certainly got some pretty bad damage out of that. Queen did a great job not getting in worse trouble himself with that initial hit with the wall.
Pit stops are now underway for the first time. With all of that, William Hale has now jumped up to 2nd position throughout all this. And keep in mind, drivers electing, it looks like everyone, to take a tire set and/or potentially damage repair during this stop. We're hearing one driver did get a potential passer yellow. That is Trey Patton. They have waived that as these drivers now roll their way into the box. This is a big break for McConey, who still has the damage. It looks like he will keep his fast repair for later on in this race. There are still 43 minutes on the clock for references. The race off the pit lane about to heat up, off and away. Sora crossed the cone first, followed by Hale, Powell, Turner, Abbey, the top 5.
To add insult to injury, there you see Wilson is now in his stall, but he missed his pit stall, so that's another couple extra seconds that he's going to lose out on. So we take a look at the 62 of Hale here in the 2nd position. Nicely done. Again, that patience really paying off for him. At this point, honestly, I'd say if you're in a position to try and take some tires, because I'm seeing the info saying they actually have unlimited sets, you might as well hop in and try to get that, because that's going to be a big help around here.
Don't blame him on that, Mark. But either way, this is your Fox Sports app in-race reporter tonight. It's William Hale. And William, you had a very stellar race last time out. You've been having a solid one so far. How are you feeling in the car?
That car feels fine, guys. Not really having much track awareness right there. Getting in the wall, I don't know. Mistakes happen. It sucks for him. Hopefully he comes back up through the field. But yeah, our car is great. Our Marconi setup shot 4 Mustang has been perfect all night long. Just hopefully we can stay up here and get a couple long runs here and have some clean racing to the end.
So now that you've got the track position, how do you plan to approach things to try and find a way around Presley Sore, because you already have picked up 6 spots, and keep in mind, drivers like Nick Olson are coming in quick. He gained 16 after the caution.
I'm not in too big of a hurry. Just gonna ride and take what comes to me until later in the race, and when the late race comes around, we'll try to go get it then.
Thank you very much for your time, Will.
Yep, thank you guys.
That's William Hale, your Fox Sports app in-race reporter. The new Fox Sports app has changed the game. From the top moments, breaking news, original content, and live sports, you can find it all in one app. Follow your favorite team or sport with mobile alerts right on your device. Download the all-new app in the App Store or on Google Play. The Fox Sports app. Get it, use it, love it. It's time for the big green egg. Green flag once more. Presley Sore with a great launch down the front straightaway. We're back on our way from Chicagoland.
Say that Sore really is the man to beat so far. Presley's been keeping that first place under wraps compared to everybody else, as we got some problems in the back, including some spinners.
Caution is out for the 2nd time. It's Charlie Brown who is among those spinning. He also, though, had a bit of a checkup in front of him that may have sparked this. Justin Mons also got loose. 2 different cars nearly spun it coming out of turn 2.
There you can see Mon down at the bottom. I tell you what, the 03 of Jeff McConey had inches to spare to get tangled up into that, and can't quite see him from that angle. There you see in the background, he just basically checked up with just enough time to keep out of the spinning car from in front.
In the 2nd spinning car you seen in the backdrop was Charlie Brown, and you can see he may have seen what was happening up here. The spotter started sliding around himself, got a little tap just about there. That's enough to trigger the caution flag with some of the trouble in front as well.
These cold tires don't seem to like really putting a lot of input in the wheel, especially if you're keeping on throttle. So these drivers kind of got to be a little bit careful, tiptoe on these restarts, because otherwise they're just going to see that happen time and time again.
So a couple drivers, because of those slides, electing to take some tires here and or some damage repair still very early on in this race. Keep in mind with the fuel numbers, with the 75% fuel limit, the drivers around this mark are good to go on gas. On that note, let's take the time to talk about the title sponsor for this action, Tufco Flooring. Tufco Flooring is an industrial flooring company specializing in custom floors and drains. Tufco doesn't believe in the one-size-fits-all approach, and neither should you. Tufco listens to your needs and requirements and develops custom solutions for every client. For more information, visit their website at tufcoflooring.com. So to reset the field, so far, Presley Sora, William Hale, DJ Powell, Bailey Turner, Joshua Abbey, the top 5, with Queen, Olsen, Theodore, Canup, Bertez inside the top 10. And it's starting to get more and more darker, keep in mind, as this race goes on and the time goes on. 40 to go this time by, plenty of racing to go, and the potential of the time could factor on in from this point.
Well, for now, it seems like the temperatures haven't dipped too much. It's still about 77 Fahrenheit on the track surface itself, and that's the big one that they're going to want to watch out for. As the sun continues to go down, I do expect it to start to lower some, but it seems like the heat has soaked in pretty well over the course of the day, and it's not dissipating all that quickly yet.
Absolutely. It's been an entertaining track to see the racing adding. The tough break is that racing hasn't taken place, obviously, here, Joe, in the past couple years. This was a track that put on some classic events and had some classic moments in NASCAR lore over the past half decade before 2020 happened.
Exactly. And as a Midwesterner myself, I'm a bit sad to see tracks like this kind of fall by the wayside. I'm sure not many are missing another mile and a half, but like I said, this is a unique place. That curved backstretch, I like more mile and a halfers like this, where they at least have something to them to really set them apart. And I'm with you. I'm sad to see this one not show up.
Yeah, it's been a track with a lot of memories, too, on the sim, some emotional moments, some crazy racing, and a very difficult track at some marks, not just because of the curved backstretch, but also the bump in turn 3, where if you take it too low, you hit the splitter on the bump, boom, you hit up the racetrack.
Well, looks like everybody's not thinking about that right now. They're getting ready to roll off, and some of them are raring to go based on what I'm seeing.
It's almost time once more for another big green egg, green flag. Both of them trying to jump it on the front row. We're back on our way for the big green egg challenge. And another good launch again by Presley Sora. A bit of bump drafting between second and third. Turner getting the great launch on the outside.
He's immediately going to take it to the bottom, though. Seems like until they get up to speed, they kind of want to get it down low. Everybody's going to drift back up high. Poor 30 car. And
trouble back straight away. One car off into the grass. Several more scattering about. No caution yet. Zachary Mertz has him on thumb. Connor Mann is also sliding into the grass. We stay green for now as Mann saves it all while they battle a bit up at the front.
Yeah, the 0-2 did exactly what I was talking about earlier, where the car just kind of understeered and he slapped the outside wall. Thankfully, nobody was below him when he bounced back. So, like you said, no caution. Let's keep it going.
Bit of a bobble now for Joshua Abbey, who gets the bump this time for Brendan Queen. Keep in mind, Abbey was on the cut line coming into tonight, Joe. He's doing what he needs to do, but here comes Nick Olsen diving into the inside, looking to gain spots.
Oh, he got awful loose off the corner, though. That's going to cost him some momentum. The 30's been kind of stuck back here since the restart. He's honestly been boxed in. Abbey in front and Olsen at the bottom. Each time down the backstretch, he's got speed, but he's got nowhere to go.
Yeah, some of the drivers trying to get back into the line a little bit. Brendan Queen not backing off, though, on PR guy for Nick Olsen. That's going to help a little bit with Abbey. You see up the road, meanwhile, for Bailey Turner. Turner, again, the spotter for Adam Cabot for Cabot Esports, the California-based driver, continuing to showcase some good speed now that he's got into the track position and towards the midway portion of this race.
25 riding all the way down to the bottom here in this early part of the stint. And somebody also down low here in the mid-pack as well. This is Justin Mons, who's still working on trying to keep back Jesse Vaughn. And up high, the 44 of Ray Richer looks like he got a little bit of understeer himself.
But of some moments right behind Justin Mons, indeed, you see his viewpoint looking very focused, very content right now. When it comes to his driving line, Justin Mons is crew chief in eNASCAR competition for Jason Kepfer, along with Mike Reyes. Two drivers among some of the other platforms in the eNASCAR world. Currently, he still holds on to a position inside the top 10.
Got a little group of 3 here behind them. There's quite a pack forming as well, so I'm keeping half an eye on that in case that starts to bring us some action. And you can kind of see they're weaving all over the place. Almost had 3 wide for a brief moment out of turn 4 as we hop on board with Luke in the 77.
Luke Knupp, known for being a very stellar dirt road racer of the iRacing service, but also has a lot of real-world experience when it comes to off-road racing. He showed some good speed about a week ago in some of the special event action going on in the stock cars. Looking to try and back that up here. Remember, he's been in contention a few times for some oval victories, including at Daytona early on this season. McConey, though, he wants to try and make a move, as well as Reed Wilson underneath them. Both of them nearly pass on by. Wilson, at the minimum, nearly clear.
He's taking that fast repair, so he's trying to climb his way back through the field. He's made it about halfway, to his credit, which is pretty impressive in the couple of green flag laps we've had. Someone's in the wall.
That is Luke Knupp going way too high up the racetrack, and that now cuts the right front fender on his car. And sometimes the safer barrier can catch you. In that case, Luke Knupp got caught as now McConey tries to catch back up to Reed Wilson.
It's also just one of those oddities of the curved backstretch as well. In a normal track, you can just kind of point your car and turn it in as soon as you see that curve coming, but you got to kind of keep that just subtle turn in, and if you don't have it quite enough, it's easy to get caught out if you're pushing the limits of the track.
Here's a look at the race leaders meanwhile, and you can see Presley Soar is starting to build up an advantage. He is turning lap times about 1/10 of a second quicker than some of the drivers around him and behind him. That time he lost some time with a 31.7, but the average, it's been amongst the top 5 quickers on the racetrack. Only Abby and Queen have been quicker, and they're amongst those trying to scrabble around for 5th and 6th.
Yeah, Queen was really drifting up into the outside wall, had to catch it, and Powell almost ran into the back of him. Glad that that didn't erupt into any sort of incident, but he falls back because of that checkup. Queen's still in it, though. He's been working on Abby in front of him for some time as we watch from his perspective behind the Toyota.
On that mark, we have now crossed the midway portion of tonight's action. It's time to bring you the iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing. iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in Australian supercars, IndyCar, IMSA, NASCAR, the World of Outlaws, and more. Up in the race lead currently, past halfway, Presley Soar up by about 3/10 of a second over William Hale, followed by Bailey Turner and Joshua Abbey. Brendan Queen's currently in 5th, with Nick Olson, the biggest mover, up 17 spots in 6th. TJ Powell inside the lead pack is in 7th. Then about 1.1 seconds behind, that's where you can find John Theodore, the number 27, Justin Mons, Jesse Vaughn round out the top 10.
Seeing a little bit of side-by-side racing here ahead of the 13, but Vaughn still seeing what he can do on the 41 as they come down into turn 1. Oh, it looked like he wanted to try and maybe duck it down to the inside. Oh, we got a wreck behind him.
And waiting for the caution as they start wrecking big time in turn 2. There it is. Under caution as Miller, McConey, Wilson, Patton, Arvanitis, along with Freeble, Tate, Kemper, Bayless, along with Knupp, now in the top 20. Richer, along with Mann, Brown, and Mertez, now to the back as a result of this incident. Here's a look at it quickly here as this wraps up the midway race break here with this trouble.
And Wilson getting involved means that he's just going to have to suffer this damage that he got out of it. Thankfully, it wasn't a whole lot, not quite as much as what we're seeing here with the 44.
And then Charlie Brown afterwards gets involved in the secondary incident because It looks like some drivers didn't really back on down after the trouble in front.
Well, Brown was trying to get to the bottom. He just got clipped, unfortunately. And 46 just went for a heck of a ride. Trey Patton kind of had no place to go behind him as well, because there were some cars that checked up in front of him, and that sent him straight into the path of the 46.
Here's a look from Trey Patton. Again, caution's not out yet. Staying green, foot in the gas, and gets a little bit of help via iRacing. Very lucky, let's put it that way, as that concludes tonight's iRacing Midway Race Break. With more than 170,000 drivers on the iRacing service and more than 90 LaserScan tracks and cars to choose from, iRacing is your portal to the racing world. Get on track today at iRacing.com. Pit stops underway once more as expected, with these drivers just past halfway. Again, good to go on fuel from here. Keep in mind, Wilson amongst those who had already used their faster pairs, so significant damage for him. Off and away, the race off the lane. Sorek takes it first. A race for second. Believe it may have been potentially Turner. We'll see once they pass the commitment cone, with Hale, followed by Abby Powell, the top five.
Oh, they were neck and neck coming out of there, but I think Turner did indeed get it by an inch or two. And yeah, he's not going past him, so that may wind up being crucial on this restart, because not many people have been able to try and attack Sora. And we're getting down, as you said, into the second half of the race. This is where the drivers have got to start making moves, so he wants that track position.
Well, to Reed Wilson as a result of that contact, by the way. So let's take the time to shout out Rowdy Energy. Two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Kyle Busch and beverage entrepreneur Jeff Church have collaborated to develop Rowdy Energy with a proprietary enhanced energy formula consisting of time-release caffeine, sugar reduction ingredients, amazing taste, and hydration levels above leading sports drinks. Rowdy Energy is a cleaner, smarter energy drink. Visit rowdyenergy.com to place your order today. And don't forget, the Pro Series hits the track for their action with these cars right after Road to Glory concludes tonight and after the checker flag. Be sure to tune in for that action tonight. It should be a fun one. 120 miles on the docket, Joe, for that one.
Yeah, that is honestly where the big boys start to come out on that one. So I am looking forward to seeing what they have in store.
So 24 laps to go this time by for the green flag. In the race lead, Presley Sora. He's led 32 of 35 laps so far. Followed by Turner, Hale, Abby, Powell, Olsen, Queen, Mons, Theodore, Vaughn amongst the top 10 positions. As they get ready to get back to the loud pedals once more. Again, we are inside the green light to make it on fuel from here. How will this restart fare out as we get ready for another big green egg, green flag? iRacing pace car is off. Hale gives the bump. Sora hits the gas. Off and away we go once more from Chicagoland.
Not a good start from the outside on Bailey Turner. In fact, I don't think he's going to be able to get down to the bottom here. Hale's going to have that shorter line. He's going to have a good chance to try and take that second place right back. Not if he drifts up like this, though.
Up the track, nearly to the wall goes Turner. Hale tries to squeeze. 3 wide, entering turn 3. Here's the send now from Powell as the caution is down to the back of the field. Trey Patton involved in trouble again. He slid through the grass. Oh, wow, Jesse Vaughn, one of the drivers in contention for a playoff spot, spun it to the grass after contact with the wall.
Oh, he almost managed to get through without getting hit. But unfortunately, this is another case of those cold tires. He's already getting loose here on this replay, and then he just gets sent completely around. Now, yeah, you're going to see it from here. About halfway through, the rear starts to come out. This is where you got to, you just got to suck it up, get off that throttle, and try and catch the car. But he tried to stick with it, and unfortunately, that was not the way to go.
See, right there. Bit of contact to the front nose there. Dylan Freeble's already been asking over the radio about that. Trey Patton, then, meanwhile, he is nearly at the very back of the field, just ends up having trouble himself here.
Another one that got loose on his own. This is from Freebell's perspective. There's the hit. think Dylan got away with that. It doesn't look like he got too much damage out of it.
It's pretty crunched in, unfortunately, if you look very close at Friebel's front end. So the number 20, the rider photographer for Speed Sport, with significant damage. Look at that damage. Yes, that is definitely a potential fast repair usage right there. So with that, 22 laps to go, now coming up to 21 next time by. Vaughn, Rabiles, Patton, Friebel all electing to come down to the pit lane for service as a result of that caution flag. And now it's getting towards the caution precautions point because it's pretty clear. It takes a couple laps for the tires to get up to temperature, and some of the drivers are struggling to be able to get the full power down as a result of the cold tires.
It's something where you just have to be cognizant of your situation. You can't just be all out from the word go, and you got to make sure that you take care of your equipment, especially here in oval racing. It is not something that will pay you back well if you just basically treat it roughly as soon as you possibly can. Make sure and watch out that you've got the grip that you think you have, because you've put on those fresh tires, and, well, this is an F1. There's no tire warmers on those things.
Absolutely. Keep in mind, tonight's action, again, is the Big Green Egg Challenge for those just tuning in for Monday Night Racing Road to Glory Series, presented by Tufco Flooring Racing. I'd like to give thanks again to Big Green Egg for their support of this series, as Big Green Egg is the world's largest producer and international distributor of the highest quality ceramic Kamado style charcoal grill. They have spent more than 40 years mastering the best, most versatile, fuel efficient, and easy to use Kamado style grill across the globe. With an egg, there is no need for a separate grill, smoker, pizza oven, or rotisserie device, because the egg does all of this and more to perfection. For more information, visit their website at biggreenegg.com. Drivers getting ready for the restart as we are quickly now approaching the 20 lap to go mark. The Tufco Flooring 20 to go, in fact. Lights are out on top of the iRacing pace car for the restart. Sora continues to lead. Turner, Hale, Powell, Abbey, Olsen, Queen, Theodore, Mons, McConey now the top 10. A good recovery for Jeffrey McConey after a disastrous first lap and a disastrous second stint.
Looks like we're just about ready to go here. Off at turn 4 once again.
iRacing pace car is off. The Big Green Egg. Green flag is out. Tufco Flooring 20 to go. This time by. Off and away goes Sora.
I think William Hale really wants to get back into that track position with second. He's going to get underneath once again. But he and Turner have got to get this sorted out quick. If they start fighting too much, Sora's going to get another big gap. And the 86, Powell, remember, he brushed the wall early. He's suddenly back into things.
DJ Powell trying to wheel it around the high side, all while Nick Olsen's trying to join the fun. He mentioned tonight how he would have loved to break the tie and wins with Presley Sora. Can he join the fray with 19 to go now as he stays the bottom?
Wow, 62 is strong into the corner, but he isn't able to do anything with it. Like I said, you got to think about trying to back up the corner, try and diamond it off, get yourself the shot down the straightaways. And as we hop on board here with Hale, let's see how calm he can stay. Well, he's going to be very calm. We got a caution.
And it's a big one in turns 3 and 4. Hearing several apologies from Zachary Mertez as the trigger. He was in 11th position. And remember that curve back straightaway. He ends up making contact with Miller down it.
Yeah, just slight side-to-side contact. Miller can't really do much. He kind of gets sent into a pinball situation. And then, unfortunately, those behind really get caught up. I think Tate had a big contact, both with the outside wall, and I think Reed Wilson there. Oh, boy.
Taking our look here, and as we talked about, it's a very unique characteristic of that curve backstretch, meaning you're always turning. If you're, say, trying to line it up down a straightaway like it's a normal straight, see what happens. And for Christopher Tate, the pro late model driver, he gets some of the worst of it. Reed Wilson also destroyed.
There's a great avoidance by the 99 of Mark Rebelas, who got himself underneath all of that. So that gave him a number of positions, put him up to 14th, actually.
So back on our caution, like to take the time to remind you of the upcoming events coming up along month's iRacing and Podium Esports coverage. As we reminded you, of course, when it came to Monday Night Racing Pro Series action coming up right after this on Podium 2, Twitch, Podium YouTube, Facebook, Monday Night Racing's Twitter. Again, Chicagoland Speedway, NASCAR Xfinity Series cars, 8 p.m. Eastern on Podium 2 for that. But tomorrow, Operation E-Motorsport iRacing League action. Visit Sonoma, where the pro drivers will be racing in the Dallara P217s, with beneficiary and open classes will be using GT3s. Coverage starts 8 p.m. Eastern, December 21st on iRacing.com/live. Right after that as well, the eNASCAR Contender iRacing Series heads to Texas for a big state-sized showdown to close off the season. That starts again 9 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/podium2 and on iRacing's Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook channels. Right afterwards as well, Sim Max Cup Series powered by MPI Action heads to Talladega Superspeedway on January 2nd. That starts 9:15 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/Podium Esports. And then SROC, presented by Shenandoah Shine, heads to Las Vegas Motor Speedway to race with the old-style Gen 6 cars. Yes, the 900 horsepower package. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, January the 5th. That's a Wednesday. You can find that on twitch.tv/Podium Esports. Let's look top to bottom at your upcoming events as we get ready for the restart once more. Time could start to become a factor if the cautions continue. 15 to go, but it could get tight if we get to GWC territory.
Exactly, and that's the last thing that these drivers want is uncertainty on when and how this thing is going to end, because that can mess with your strategy greatly. Like I said, taking care of the tires, figuring out when to go and where is a key part of taking the victory here today.
Who do you feel's got the best shot here to come away with the victory? Because we've seen how dominant Sora's been. But how will this fare out for the rest of the pack, you feel?
I can't bet against that 98. Sora has basically had control of this race from the word go, and most everybody has had trouble trying to overtake, even those who have managed to get side by side.
Another roll to the restart zone, another big green egg, green flag, an early launch for Sora. Back racing we go from Chicagoland.
Once again, very good start there for that 98, and the two behind them are left to try and figure out who is going to be able to take that second spot. And William Hale actually did a good restart, but we're 3 wide. I thought maybe we were going to get tipped there for a second.
That was very close for TJ Powell, trying to force the thread towards the outside of the needle. Hale electing to stay towards the bottom of the track. Powell trying to wheel it around the only space he can around the top for some clean air, near contact with that as he crosses it to the apron.
This is what they need to do. Get single file, stop fighting for just a bit. You can get going and try and chase down Sora, but first you got to try and sort things out and stop losing time cutting across one another like that.
Hard battling still going on for second. Hale with a car to his quarter panel, forced to check up. Hale having to take the middle line from that. Bailey Turner not backing off, trying to go for the side draft, Joe, and that will slow them up a little bit with how much they're fighting.
That's already up to 0.3 of a second. Unless they get another caution, this is not looking good, because now they're going to have to chase down the 98 on top of it, even if they do get this settled out. Hale so far is doing a good job holding on to that P2, but he's got some very hungry drivers behind him as we watch from the perspective of our leader.
Happy continue to look in a very solid position right now in regards to playoff positioning. Remember, amongst that bubble spot coming into tonight, he's got the run now on turn on the outside. The outside starting to roll as he gets help from DJ Powell. And keep in mind, those two do have history working together in terms of the technical alliance sides of the sim racing world.
86 is looking very good here. I'm not too shocked with the way he was looking so fast at the start of this race. Now that he's finally gotten back to the front of the field, I think he could be a good one to try and challenge. He and Hale, I think, are probably two of the quickest so far today.
Here's the look on board for Bailey Turner, meanwhile, and you can see how minimal that wheel movement is right now. But watching the corners with the dirty air with 11 laps to go, having to really bobble it around with some of the bumps.
Now we're starting to finally get single file here. This is what they needed to do, and I think it is paying off because Hale's keeping it at about 0.3 of a second. He'll have to turn up the wick a bit, and the tires are finally back up to temperature here so he can start pushing. But if he does that, he might run out of rubber by the time he gets to the back of him, and we're only 10 to go.
10 laps to go from Joliet, Illinois in the Big Green Egg Challenge. William Hale needs to close up 4/10 to have a shot at Presley Sora at this rate. Abbey is up to third, keep in mind, but he's fighting hard behind as well. DJ Powell is now trying to pass the 5. He's trying to bring Brendan Queen with him to the inside.
I think Powell's got it. Yep, it looks like a bit of a washout from Abbey is going to deny him from being able to fight back.
Ray Richer off to the grass. No caution yet. Richer got into contact with Trey Patton. We stay green. Oh, well, they fight 2-3 wide coming through the corner.
Ooh, Queen's now in it. He managed to get by Abbey. He was trying the bottom side, but I think that middle lane is the quickest way to go right now, especially just as the tires have gotten into as the 24 really sends it in deep.
Nick Olson going to Nick Olson there. Dived in hard to the inside. All while Turner now gives the love tap to Abbey, trying to keep the outside line moving. Look who's also joining the fun, Jeffrey McConey. He's closing up and quickly to these cars. Oh, well, they scrap off the corner.
Yeah, this pack is getting bigger and bigger, but the main thing is they've lost the top two. Sora and Hale are basically off in their own world at this stage, and we go 3 wide now.
Another big send. Taylor trying to stick it as Abbey gives the squeeze. Just able to make it 7 to go now from Chicagoland. This has all allowed Hale and Sora to pull away by nearly a full second. Bit of trouble now in the corner as Abbey gets hit. Straight to the wall goes Turner. Caution is out. Turner gets launched into the air. Thomas Miller.
Oh, more drivers getting involved. Sorry, Mons and Avante also getting collected.
Thomas Miller with significant contact on the TMK Motorsports machine. Nowhere for him to go at full speed, but watch this corner. Trouble with Olsen leads to the trouble.
Oh, it just smacked the wall. And unfortunately, when he bounced back down, car in the way, just had no way to avoid. The 13 could have seen it coming, but unfortunately did not check up enough. And then there were some other cars coming up behind that almost looked like they didn't hit the brakes at all.
The argument over the radio is DJ Powell may have hit the wall before that as well. Here's Mark Rabiles, one of the Crypto Autosport machines. And watch here as the 99 backs it up as everyone tries to fly through it.
Yeah, see, that's what you need to do is as soon as you start to see big smoke like that, especially in the middle of a corner, you're going to get a caution. There's really no point in trying to fly through it Days of Thunder style. And wow, this driver looks like, wow, got away with it pretty good.
Abbey with a great save for the staff writer and esports coordinator for Shenandoah Shine. As pit stops are underway, some have elected to roll the dice and stay out, though, Joe. We've ran about 21 laps on those tires for some, so about 5th on back amongst the leaders elected to come out. The only one staying out, Sora, Hale, Queen, McConey, Keffer, Vaughn, Freeble, and Mann. Everybody else has taken rubber.
If this was 3 laps ago, I would have said, yes, this is absolutely the right call. But this is pretty marginal. This last restart is only going to get us, what, about 3 laps here? And if we get into the caution, then it's going to be just green-white checkers for the remainder if we get more of them.
It could be very much so down to the time itself at that mark, too, in terms of the time limit. So it's now down to very tight margins. Keep in mind, when it comes to Freeble and Mann, they have a little fresher tires compared to most of the drivers in front. But this is still a track position play, it appears, here. They might be trying to play on time if they ends up becoming caution. If it goes green, then it gets wild.
And we've got 10 minutes left officially on the clock is what I'm seeing. So yeah, if it goes to green-white checkers, that is the point at which we're starting to worry that we're not going to finish this race by laps here.
Here are now 9 minutes on that respective clock, preferred to. Again, the drivers currently off circuit with some of the incidences. Bailey Turner, Thomas Miller, Justin Mons, Zachary Mertez, along with Christopher Tate, Reed Wilson, Charlie Brown, all off track. 17 are still running as they keep the lights on. This means a natural green-white checker at this point if they get to the one to go this time as expected.
Wow. Okay. Which is not good news for those who pitted. It looks like those best position to take advantage are guys like Olson, Powell, Abbey, and Theodore. Those are your top 4 with fresh tires. But interestingly, it's a bit split because the top 5 have 22-lap-old tires. Then you get to Jesse Vaughn, who's on 18-lap-old tires. And then Freebo and Mann pitted 13 laps ago. So it's kind of all jumbled up there. And to me, it's still in favor of guys like Soren Hale at the point with so few laps to try and make positions.
So this, Mark, how do you play this if you're one of the drivers who have now stayed out here? You're in a good spot, obviously, with track position, but it could get crazy about that 9th on back spot, especially if they get enough run time to get around the leader.
If I'm the 98, I defend like the Dickens. Keep that track position. The last thing you want is a caution that costs you that spot just because it came out because Hale was inches ahead. So just try and stay ahead as best you can and hope that you don't get some bad luck.
And keep in mind, wheel spin's going to be big too, Joe.
Yes, excellent point. Yeah, not only do you have cold tires because of the restart, they're getting cooled down, but now they've been through a heat cycle. So yeah, he's got to be just a little bit careful out there. Got to be twinkle toes on that throttle pedal, but he's got track position. He's got a lot of other cars that are between him and those with fresh tires. So play defensive, treat it like a normal restart, and just try and get to the finish.
McConey, you see his viewpoint from 4th position. This is the highest he's been after a chaotic first few laps for him. I can't tell if he's smiling or not, since it's the best starting position he's had for a restart.
I want to know if those are seat belts that's strapping him into the rig, or has he just got really big suspenders?
Yes. It's yes. On that note, this is a natural green-white checker. This will now count against the 3 attempts available. The big green egg, green flag, waits up at the stand. Presley Sora to the low pedal. We're back away with 2 laps to go.
Has a pretty good start from the 98s, and I'm watching to see what those on fresh tires are looking like. Olson is honestly making pretty good inroads here. In fact, he is slicing through.
That may get looked towards as he went 3 wide at the start and finish line. Now he's given a bump draft to some of the older tires. Still 3 wide, a couple rows deep behind him. 2.5 lanes wide as Jason Kemper gets shuffled out. Olson now up to 5th. All while they come around to the front straightaway. If they take the white, it's official. The McConey setup shop. White flag is out. Final lap from Chicagoland.
Sora is still sitting pretty. Hale might be back by about 1/10.5, but he's got to really send it in and disrupt Sora if he wants to take this win.
What will Hale do if he wants to get himself a second victory? Sora tries to play defense. One more corner. Hale goes for the send. Can't get to the bumper. Tries to stick it to the bottom. Sora slides it up. Checker flag waves up at the stand. The big green egg challenge goes to Presley Sora at Chicagoland.
Great stuff there from Sora. Like I said, stay cool, stay defensive, and that gave him the win. Boy, Queen almost lost that 3rd place, smacked the wall on the exit of 4, but still came away with a podium.
And this victory essentially means Presley Sora now leads the series in victories, entering the playoffs, giving him 9 playoff points to his name. Presley Sora has now won 3 of the past 4 races to enter postseason action. And McConey giving a little bit of love as this now brings us to our Martin Sports winning moment. Founded by Scott Martin nearly 10 years ago in the frozen region of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, Martin Sports strives for the best custom apparel for your needs. Whether you're needing shirts for your office, jerseys for your local sports team, or specifically designed apparel for your sim racing group, Martin Sports has got you covered. Along with shirts and other team wear, they also offer gloves specially crafted for sim racing that are lightweight, breathable, and complete with paddock leather palms. Use the code PODIUM to receive 40% off in any stock racing glove at martinsports906.com. You can also find them at facebook.com/martinsports. Post-race coverage coming up right after this. You're watching Podium Esports for Monday Night Racing Road to Glory action in the Big Green Egg Challenge.
We are an industrial flooring company specializing in custom floors and drains. We don't believe in the one-size-fits-all approach to flooring, and neither should you. When you choose Toughco, we consult with you about your needs, industry requirements, and factor in numerous variables. After assessing your facility, we engineer your floor and drains, then install everything ourselves. That's the Toughco way.
Visit our website at toughgoflooring.com.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars, and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone, and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Podium Esports and its coverage of the Big Green Egg Challenge. As we take a look at your final results, Presley Sora picks up win number 3 of the season to enter the playoffs. He held off a hard-charging William Hale with Brennan Queen in 3rd. Nick Olson finished in 4th tonight with Jeffrey McConey in 5th. Abby, Freeball, Theodore, Patton, Vaughn rounded out your top 10 tonight. Luke Knupp finished in 11th position after a rough qualifying performance with Mann in 12th. Arvinitis, along with Keffer, 13th and 14th. They were amongst those who rolled the dice on Tire Strat. Then in 15th was Mark Rabilas, followed by Ray Richer after some troubles. Last driver on the lead lap was Powell. Then Turner, Mons, and Miller all finished one lap down or more, with Mertez, Wilson, Tate, and Brown all DNFing as well from tonight's action. An intense race to say the very least for tonight's action, Joe. An entertaining race to say the very least.
Yeah, that was fantastic stuff to watch. They gave us some hard racing action, especially at the end. I'm just glad that it finished under green and went to the race distance. And I have to say, I'm very impressed with the 98. Presley Sora really knew what he was doing out there.
Absolutely. Let's take the chance to try and talk to him. In fact, Presley Sora, you've now made yourself the leader, in fact, of regular season victories. How does it feel to win 3 of 4 entering the playoffs?
Oh, it's great. And first thing I got to do is thank my sponsors, Club Jerky on the hood, McConey Setup Shop on the side, and Martin Sports on the quarter panel and deck lid. They've been with me all season, and yeah, I got to thank all of them for being on the car. And yeah, it's awesome. I had a 36-point lead on second just in the regular points going into this race, so I should have extended that by a large margin and the most wins of anybody, so I'm feeling good. Next week's the All-Star race. I'm locked into that, so I think I can go out and win that next week too.
Absolutely. And when it comes to the playoffs, keep in mind, we were talking about this a little bit, it is going to be a very challenging time because the round of 10 has 3 races. Talladega with trucks, Red Bull Ring with Porsche RSRs, Miami with the Cup cars. 3 completely different types of racing coming up after the new year.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Porsche at Red Bull Ring because I won the Porsche race in the ERL League in the last season that they ran. So I think I should be good in that. And Talladega, I should be good. I was really fast in Daytona earlier this year, and that's about the same. And I think I'll have 14 playoff points going into the playoffs with the regular season championship and all the wins. So I've got a pretty good buffer for Talladega if it goes bad.
Absolutely huge race tonight. Absolutely big victory. Congratulations on the run, Presley.
Yep, thank you.
Once again, that's Presley Sora, your winner tonight in Road to Glory action. And with that, tell you this, these are the drivers that have now been informed they're a part of the playoff field. Presley Sora, Nick Olson, John Theodore, Reed Wilson, Joshua Abbey, Justin Mons, Jesse Vaughn, Luke Knupp, William Hale, Bailey Turner. That's your field, Joe, for the round of 10.
Well, and I hope they haven't gotten their fill of oval racing yet, because it's off to Talladega, which is going to be a similar and yet completely different beast to what they had tonight.
With that, keep in mind the next race for this series heads to Talladega, as mentioned, January the 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch that on Podium Esports on Twitch. But it's almost time to bring the Pro Series drivers to the racetrack at Chicagoland. For Ford Martin and Paul Sutton at Monday Night Racing, Joshua Mendoza for Race Control, for Ryan Bauer, James Pike, Cisco Scaramuza, Gary Sexton, and John Theodore at Podium Esports, and tonight's team, Joshua Lee, Dougie Beer, Cameron Aubernon for social media, and my colleague in the booth tonight, Joe Peak. My name's Justin Prince. Thank you so much for tuning in to Round 8 of Monday Night Racing Road to Glory Series action presented by Tufco Flooring and the Big Green Egg Challenge. Now it's time to head on over to Twitch TV/Podium 2 for coverage of Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Rowdy Energy. It's a begin. Be sure to buckle up.